A delicate ceasefire is now in place in Gaza, but the clock is ticking on a tense and complex hostage release. Israel has officially announced that a ceasefire is in effect, marking a crucial turning point as efforts intensify to free hostages held by Hamas under the terms of a peace deal brokered with U.S. involvement. But here's where it gets controversial. The success of this agreement depends heavily on the release of hostages and Palestinian prisoners, which is shrouded in uncertainty and intricate political maneuvering. On Friday, Israel's Ministry of Justice published a list of 250 Palestinian prisoners slated for release as the first phase of this U.S.-brokered ceasefire and hostage exchange agreement. According to the deal, these prisoners will only be freed after a 72-hour waiting period closes. This time frame is critical because it also marks the deadline by which all Israeli hostages, both living and deceased, are supposed to be returned. This window concludes by Monday afternoon in Israel. An Israeli official speaking to CBS News confirmed that Hamas is expected to deliver all remaining hostages by noon local time Monday, 5 a.m. Eastern, setting a high-stakes countdown. Just 33 minutes ago, Italy's defense ministry announced that the Rafah border crossing connecting southern Gaza to Egypt will reopen on Tuesday. This move comes through coordination with the European Union and the White House, in line with the Trump-era agreement. Italian Defense Minister Guido Crosetto detailed that the crossing will operate in both directions, allowing Palestinians to enter Gaza and exit toward Egypt. The border reopening will be monitored by the EU Border Assistance Mission, which ensures neutral oversight, a critical detail to maintain trust during these sensitive operations. Crosetto also revealed that operations for releasing Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners are set to commence Sunday, highlighting the diplomatic groundwork laid for these exchanges. Meanwhile, CBS News journalists in Gaza observed displaced residents starting to return to the northern parts of the devastated enclave as Israeli forces partially pull back in compliance with the ceasefire. Traveled routes like Al-Rashid, Gaza's main coastal road, are once again seeing movement, but the devastation is palpable. Witnesses report widespread destruction across Gaza City and in the Al-Shati refugee camp area, stark reminders of the conflict's brutal impact. The International Committee of the Red Cross emphasized the vital importance of handling the return of hostages and prisoners safely and with dignity. Mirjana Spoljaric, the Red Cross president, assured that teams are ready in Israel, Gaza, and the West Bank to support the process, including returning human remains respectfully so families may grieve properly. Their presence underscores how much human rights and humanitarian considerations factor into this delicate moment. An intriguing and often overlooked point is that Hamas reportedly agreed not to hold any public ceremonies during the hostages' handover to Israel, an important shift from past practices, signaling a potentially more discreet and less politically charged process. Adding to the complexity, Israeli authorities plan to form an international team in the coming days to locate missing hostages, according to Gal Hirsch, Israel's hostage and missing persons coordinator. Hamas has committed to releasing all Israeli hostages, alive or deceased, on the condition that the exchange takes place under appropriate field conditions. However, Israeli sources estimate only about 20 of the 48 hostages still held in Gaza are likely alive. A harrowing detail, often unseen in headlines. Steve Witkoff, President Trump's senior envoy, used social media to confirm that the Israeli Defense Forces had completed their initial partial withdrawal to a designated yellow line by midday local time Friday, signaling the start of the critical 72-hour hostage release window. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has taken a hard line, promising that Gaza will be demilitarized and Hamas will be disarmed, either the easy way or the hard way. He defended Israel's military campaign in Gaza, which has resulted in an estimated 67,000 Palestinian deaths, according to Hamas-affiliated health authorities, a figure that sparks international debate and moral questions about the conflict's cost. Netanyahu also challenged narratives suggesting the hostage deal was always imminent, insisting Hamas only agreed once it faced severe pressure, the sword on its neck, and emphasizing that pressure remains. On the humanitarian front, an Israeli security source revealed plans for 600 aid trucks carrying essentials such as food, medical supplies, shelter materials, fuel, and cooking gas to enter Gaza soon to alleviate the populace's dire needs. The United Nations and international partners are coordinating, though, so far, expanded aid deliveries have not yet materialized, indicating logistical or political hurdles ahead. Even as the ceasefire became official, large plumes of smoke and explosions were reported early Friday, highlighting the sudden and painful transition from active conflict to fragile calm. Israeli bombs continued falling just hours before the military ceasefire announcement. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, warned Gaza residents to keep a safe distance from IDF positions, cautioning that proximity poses serious risks. President Trump predicted the full release of all remaining hostages, including deceased individuals, would likely occur Monday or Tuesday, aligning with the agreed timetable. However, with at least 48 captives believed to remain in Gaza, this process is far from guaranteed. Israeli military spokespeople stressed that troops began repositioning along new deployment lines at noon local time Friday, preparing for the ceasefire and the hostages' return. Netanyahu's office confirmed that Israeli forces will maintain control over 53% of Gaza during the first withdrawal phase, raising questions about Gaza's future sovereignty and security dynamics. Controversy swirls around the ceasefire's implications. Is demilitarizing Gaza achievable without severe conflict? Are the estimated prisoner releases and hostages exchange realistic under these strained conditions? And how will humanitarian aid access evolve amid ongoing political hurdles? These questions invite everyone to reflect and participate in the conversation. What do you think? Is this ceasefire a genuine step toward peace, or just another fragile pause in a long, painful conflict? Share your thoughts below.